Yeah, no, I think we're off to a really good start. Pitching is we've been throwing the ball extremely well right now. You you don't want to jinx it. You hope that continues. But yeah, our pitchers have thrown really well. I really like where we're at defensively. I like our offense too. It's not that I don't like our offense, but pitching right now is just a tick ahead, which it usually is this time of year. Really like the flexibility we're going to have in our lineup. You could, as you saw last year. We're going to run out and play all kinds of different lineups. We've got a really good left-right. I think we're even have more options, when you look at left-right, to use that offensively than we had last year. So we will utilize that, and we will take advantage of that.
Do you anticipate maybe even doing more of that this year early on than maybe you did a season
absolutely.
ago?
Yeah, it's kind of the way we built the roster. You look to, and I know, as you know, last year, we're going to play multiple guys in multiple positions, other than probably, a Kobe Branch, maybe a Henry Hunter. I'll be shocked if somebody else plays the same position all year.
Ask you about Dylan Goldstein. I know he was out here, doing took some at bats. He's been with the program. Kind of what's his status right now?
Yeah, Dylan's been cleared to practice. We've got some stuff that, we won't hear back from on probably. They haven't given me a specific date.
Okay.
You expect before the beginning of the season?
Oh, yeah. Hopefully before. That's hope, right? Hope's before the beginning of the season. But, yeah, if that works out, obviously you're looking at a guy who hit, 12 homers, hit, 280 in our league last year, and would be coming back for another year. And as you guys know, old players in this league win.
Let me ask you, with a roster limit, that's another thing that's coming up here, pretty quick. Got to get down to 40. You've got a little bit of room to go. I know you probably haven't got all that decided yet, but how difficult is that making on coaches right now to get down to that number? And how?
I think it's extremely difficult for us. I feel like we've really actually probably got about, you look at our roster, we've probably got 15 guys that you could throw into one bucket and say, of these 15, any 10 of them can come through. So, I think we've raised our floor from a talent standpoint from where we were last year, and then we've had a lot of guys make jumps, which heck, good for us, but at the same time it does make it extremely difficult on who you're going to keep, because especially on the mound, all of those guys have made significant jumps, and especially compared to where we were last year on the mound. So I'll just say that.
Speaking of which, Colton Smith kind of has that ace aura around him right now. Is he kind of at that point for you where he could be considered that kind of guy?
Yeah, Colton's he's going to have a little, as you know, in our league, if you get that label put on you, a lot of pressure comes with it, and the target on your back gets really, really big. And teams are going to come after you. They're going to have a really good plan. They're going to study you up and down. And Colton has the mental capacity for that. And I think, it'll just be time. Time will tell.
Where's Charlie Goldstein at? I know you mentioned he would start throwing after the first of the month.
Yeah. Anytime you're coming off surgery, there's always a chance that, a hurdle can get knocked over, to use that analogy. He's scheduled to throw another pin, we're Friday, so early next week. And so we may see him in a scrimmage by the end of next week, barring no hurdles are knocked over.
Do you expect Alton Davis to continue closing positions transferring from Alabama?
We're stretching Alton out. Just if you look at what I've done conventionally with pitching, I don't have a true closer. I don't think there's such a thing in college baseball. I think, or at least conventional when you look at it from a big league standpoint, where a guy comes in and just throws a ninth. You look at the way we did some things last year, a guy would close for 3 innings. So we're stretching Alton out. We're not going to limit him just to a closing role. You could see him start. You could see him in the middle of a game. You could see him at the back end.
With Nolan McCarthy and Coach Nick Amorati both coming from Kentucky, what have you seen with that dynamic, and how have you seen, their relationship kind of ease the transition for both of them from Kentucky to Georgia?
That's a good question. Yeah, Coach Amo's so steady and just really right here all the time. And I think that was good for Nolan. Nolan's a very high energy player, works extremely, extremely hard every day. And So anytime you have a comfortable, coach around you like that you've been with, it makes the transition pretty seamless.
Seeing hard hats, I still hear construction noise. How has that affected your off season?
If there's one thing that's affected our off season, it's kind of like I use basketball a lot, like how our sports is so different, right? What makes a good basketball player really isn't, don't take this from me, you guys will get it in the context. There's a lot of great coaches, right, in basketball, but great basketball players, it's not what you do inside the time the NCAA gives you, the 2-hour window that they can practice with. It's how many shots you get up on your own after. And we're there. To this point, we haven't got up as many shots, so to speak, or as many extra BP swings that the guys, it's like we've been in our facility now a week, and we get videos at 11 and 12 at night of the guys they're hitting now, right? So you haven't had as much of that. It's not like we're missing a ton of it, but if there's anything with the construction, it's that.
You mentioned, so many players, your hitters especially. Playing a lot of different lineups. Do your guys understand what it's going to be like, and is there going to be a challenge at all about, for lack of a better word, keeping everybody happy, that kind of situation?
I always say this, right? It's kind of like you'll hear people say, "Hey, is that guy a glue guy?" or this, that, and the other. And it's like I tell people, the best glue guy, his name is called winning.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're winning, everybody's a glue guy. When you're losing, it's hard to find a glue guy, right? Mm-hmm. So you hope that through the success they have and through hopefully winning some ball games that, all that takes care of itself. But that's always a challenge. It's a challenge whenever you, create so much lineup flexibility. Yeah, it'll be a challenge. But I think our guys are older, they're mature. We've got, they've got a clear and concise goal on what they want, and we'll go get it.
Who were some of them, you mentioned a second ago, but who were some of the guys who were kind of opening your eyes a little bit more, maybe stretching themselves maybe than a little more than what you originally thought?
Yeah, offensively I'll hit first. Christian Adams, we thought was going to be a really good player. He got hurt in the fall, hurt his hamstring, didn't play. He's come back, he's swinging the bat extremely, extremely well. Couldn't be more happier with what we've gotten out of Devin Obie in a short amount of time. He looks phenomenal. Just to use those two guys as an example. On the mound, Paul Farley has been exceptional. A guy that I think was here last year, was hurt when I came into the program. He's off to a phenomenal start. Another young man named Zach Brown has been, elite. You'll see those two guys throw the baseball a lot.
Is Zach going to be a guy who could see some starts? You
could start. Zach brings he's the Swiss Army knife. You could close him, you can start him, you can bring him in for he can do it all.
Mm-hmm.
What was the strategy? Can we swap before this? It's a little loud.
What you got, Julie? Right here, good? Is this good? Right?
Yeah, that's good. Coach, what was the strategy behind utilizing the transfer portal so proactively, getting 16 transfers, the most in the SEC?
Yeah, it's where your program's at, right? We were real active. You got to understand it's a domino effect. And so last year we had the most in the SEC again, and we actually tied for the most this year. But you're just trying to backfill. Our league has shown statistically that old players in your league win. It's an old league. And so you're looking for experience as opposed to, constantly bringing in a big freshman class and hoping that goes. There really wasn't some older players left in our program to help move those along. Now, your goal every year is to get and build through your freshman class. And I think what you'll see next year, obviously, A, because roster limit goes down, but B, we were really excited about our freshman class. It's really kind of, since I've been here, it's the first freshman class where you can go, okay, yeah, we know exactly what we're getting. Those are, quote unquote, some of our guys.
How do those transfers fit into your identity?
I'm sorry, what?
How do these transfers fit into your overall identity as your team and the culture?
Culture's, definition of culture is real simple. It's just the way the majority of your players think, work, and act the majority of the time. And that's the way we deal with. So we teach them how to work, teach them how to think, teach them how to act. It doesn't matter if they're here 1 year. I think that's where me coaching in Major League Baseball has really helped. you have new rosters every year. You're trading guys middle of the season. You've got one player who's doing really good. All of a sudden, he's struggling. He gets kicked down to AAA. You bring up somebody else from AAA. You better get in that clubhouse and get him going. And I think my time there has really helped with the culture aspect.
On the note of experience, do you think Leighton Finley's experience last year will improve him to a different level this year?
I hope so. That's what the Dawgs hope for. But no, Leighton's had another guy. I think Anthony asked me about surprises or whatever, and yeah, I mean Colton Smith, Leighton Finley, Brian Zeldin, those guys are doing what they're supposed to do. I mean, to me, whatever they're doing is not surprising me. They're getting better. Leighton's had a phenomenal early spring so far, and Leighton Finley will throw the baseball a lot this year.